What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Football is Money. I am your host. They call me Boss. And you know, over here, we don't just talk football. We try to find some money. OTAs is wrapping up. The mini camp is done. And the training camp is right around the corner, which means this is the time of season where everybody is about to be a superstar, right? You know, every practice clip going viral. Everybody's tuned in to the wrong things, and everybody got a hot take. But today, me and you, we're going to separate the hype from real value. We break it down. Denver Broncos running back room, Germie Bernard making noise in Pittsburgh, Jordan Mason's opportunity to take over the backfield in Minnesota. Patrick Mahomes is back practicing, and Brandon Aiyuk situation keeps getting stranger by the day. And most importantly, we got to answer a couple of questions, right? What does this mean for football? What does this mean for my fantasy team? And can we make some money with this information? So let's get into it. We're going to hop into our first story, man. All right, let's head over to Denver because there have been a lot of talk about this Broncos running back room. And personally, I think it's a bigger football story for the Broncos than for your fantasy team. J.K. Dobbins is still my projected lead back. R.J. Harvey is your explosive change of pace runner who can make plays in the passing game. Then you got Jonah Coleman, who's starting to earn some attention because of what he brings in pass protection. So let's check out some of these, highlights from OTA. And I want you guys to put it in a proper perspective. I don't think Jonah Coleman is battling to become the featured back. His role is to protect Bo Nix, to pick up blitzes, and keep this offense on schedule. Every young quarterback needs a running back that he can trust in those situations, anytime, any day. The other thing fantasy managers need to remember is this. Sean Payton has never really been a one running back type of a head coach. If you play fantasy over the years, you already know how frustrating that can be, especially if you have one of his running back or one of his players. He likes to rotate backs, using different guys for different situations, and keeping everybody involved, right? And that's just how he always called his offense. So even if one of these guys starts to separate a little bit, don't expect Sean Payton to suddenly give him 25 touches every week. That's probably not going to be how this backfield is going to operate. So from a fantasy standpoint, I'm still keeping my eyes on J.K. Dobbins. And, R.J. Harvey is the backup, right? Jonah Coleman, you can put him on your watch list, but not your draft board, all right? Yeah, let's just see what he does during training camp. Let's see what he looks like in the preseason. And then we will reevaluate when the picture becomes a little clearer. So don't chase the third running back in the committee before the committee is even established. And that's big facts. Big facts. All right, so now let's go from a crowded running back room to a rookie receiver who is starting to build some momentum. Okay, now let's head over to Pittsburgh because rookie receiver Germie Bernard is already getting some buzz in minicamp. And honestly, I understand why. From everything we've hearing, he's off to a really great start. Now, from a football standpoint, I think the kid can play, right? I think he can carve out a role early in this Steelers offense. He's showing the coaches enough already to earn more opportunities. And that's exactly what you want to see from a young receiver. But here's where the fantasy conversation gets a little tricky, right? I don't think the question is whether Germie Bernard is good enough. I think the question is whether the quarterback situation is good enough, right? To consistently get him the football. If Aaron Rodgers comes in and has one of his more vintage Aaron Rodgers seasons on his farewell tour, then, the conversation could change completely. But until we see that happen, I'm not expecting immediate fantasy production every single week from the young guy, right? For me, this is a much better dynasty story. than it is a redraft story. If you're in a Dynasty league, I like grabbing him now while the price is still low. But you got to put him on your Texas squad and be patient and let the situation develop. You understand what I'm saying? So, and they're usually going to take a little time, right? In redraft leagues, though, I'm probably watching more than I'm drafting, just to be honest. I want to see how his role develops. I want to see how the quarterback play looks. I want to see if he starts becoming a consistent part of the offense every week. You know, the talent isn't what I'm questioning. The timeline is. And sometimes you got the right player in the wrong fantasy situation. And patience end up being the winning strategy. So like I say, the talent isn't what I'm questioning. It's the timeline. But let's go ahead and check out some of his highlights, and let's see what they got going on out here in Pittsburgh.
Come back to the ball. Cut down the flight. Cut down the flight of the ball. So look at you pop up.
All right, nice work, my boy. Now let's stay in the fantasy world because I think one of the biggest breakout running backs anyway, is going to be in Minnesota this year. I'm talking about Jordan Mason, man. Let's talk about one that I've been thinking about for a long time. I've been thinking this is going to happen for a while. In Minnesota, I think we finally will see the transition from Aaron Jones to Jordan Mason. I believe Jordan Mason is in a position to take over this Vikings backfield. Aaron Jones have been, a productive player throughout his career, but this feels like the point where Minnesota start handing more of the workload to the younger, more physical running back. So let's check him out in minicamp and see what he got going on the slim screen right here. Right? So Jordan Mason, he already shown that he can handle a heavy workload. He had to do it last year when Aaron Jones was hurt. He runs hard. He finishes his runs, and he consistently falls forward, right? Those are the kinds of back coaches love because they keep an offense on schedule, 3 or more. Now, I don't think Aaron Jones is going to disappear completely or anything like that. He's still going to have a role. He's still a valuable veteran player, especially on passing downs and in certain situations. But if we're talking about who I expect to lead the backfield in carries as the season goes on, I think it's going to be Jordan Mason, right? From a fantasy standpoint, this is one of those situations I'm buying into. If Jordan Mason continues to separate himself during training camp and the preseason, I think he has a chance to outperform the Aaron Jones, right? And Aaron Jones, he'll become more of a depth piece or a matchup play, while Mason has the upside to become the every week starter in this offense. And, sometimes NFL teams tell you what they're planning before they actually do it. And to me, all the signs are pointing towards Minnesota making Jordan Mason the guy. Now, we just need to see it play out once the games start, all right? So don't wait until the depth chart officially changes. Pay attention to where the momentum is going because that's where fantasy value is created. Now, this is another reason why we watch these mini camps and we try to keep up with the stories, because if you go into the season thinking that last year running back is still going to be this year's starting running back, then you've already set yourself up to be behind, right? So keep your ear to the cleats, you dig, and make sure you understand what's going on out here, all right? All right. So we're going to take a quick second to acknowledge one of our partners. Just stay with us, man. We'll be right back. Hey, if you're looking to upgrade your football setup, your podcast studio, or even your fantasy football draft room, check out the Football is Money Amazon storefront. We put together the equipment that we actually use and recommend, and every purchase through our link helps support the channel at no extra cost to you. You'll find the link in our show description. Shop Amazon at Football is Money. All right, so we're going to talk about Brandon Aiyuk real quick, man. All right, so I want to get straight to it.
And if I'm crazy or if I'm capping, so them boys cut me today. And I'll sign with the Commanders tomorrow. And we'll see who capping. And if I'm crazy or if I'm capping.
Hey, man, so look, if y'all understand what's going on, it's a lot of drama with Brandon Aiyuk and his situation right now. This situation might be one of the wildest offseason stories right now. You got a talented receiver, no clear landing spot. You got trade rumors, Commanders talk, 49er drama, and then social media stuff keep adding fuel to the fire. So from a fantasy standpoint, man, I'm staying away from Brandon Aiyuk for now. I can't draft uncertainty. We don't know where he's playing. We don't know what kind of role he's walking into. We haven't even seen him play meaningful football in a very long time. And this is where the business side matters. When millions of dollars are on the line, you can't handle your business online. You ain't hear what I said. Let me say it again, man. I said when you got millions of dollars on the line, you can't handle your business online. You understand? Like, this is crazy. Everybody has issues with their teams. Everybody has contract problems. Everybody feels disrespected when it's time to renegotiate. You know what I'm saying? But the players who last in this league, they know how to move like professionals. So that's my concern with Aiyuk right now. It's not the talent, it's trust. Can a team trust you? Can fantasy managers trust you? Can you come in, learn the offense, stay focused and produce, and don't be a distraction, right? I'm not saying the talent disappeared, but talent by itself doesn't win you fantasy weeks. You need opportunity, stability, quarterback play, health, and the role matters too. So for me, Brandon Aiyuk is not a draft board guy right now. He's a watch guy, and you got to watch just to see if he's just going full AB right now and just talk himself out of the NFL altogether. You know what I mean? So we'll see if he get on the team and see what he do. Then we can revisit it. But right now, I'm not paying for the name with the situation this messy, right? Yeah, your talent gets you drafted, but your trust keeps you valuable. And until we know the team, until we know the role, until we know the mindset that this guy's going into this season with, I'm not putting Brandon Aiyuk on my fantasy roster unless it's late rounds and in a deep league, for sure. Honestly. Now let's check out one more clip from him because I just want you guys to see the full crash out. It's real. Let me try to make me little so I can put this mess up on the screen. Yeah, let me put this up here on the screen, man. It's just it's like it almost make you wonder, is he there all the way mentally? What's going on here, BA? BA turned into AB.
Like them kids when they don't get picked for the basketball game at the court. But they the ones that brought the ball. So they like, all right, y'all don't want to pick me? I'm taking my ball. I'm going home. Little ass boys. Or like when your kid, he got this one toy, but he don't really know how to use it correctly. So somebody else about to pick it up and play with it. And they like, oh yeah, this shit litty. And they like, wait, hold on, that's my toy. Little ass boy. Man, stop running from the belt. The belt coming. You scared. They scared. The truth is, they scared. They know how I get. They gonna say, oh yeah, BA did this, BA did that. BA did, that shit allegedly. But what they not gonna say is, BA suck at football because they know how I get. and they running from that belt that's on the way. It's inevitable.
Hey man, I don't know what happened. Don't know, don't have a clue, honestly, deep down. But I know you just being a good football player, it's not always just gonna be the end all to be all. When you causing distraction like this, I'm telling you right now, teams ain't gonna want to deal with you. They not gonna want to deal with you when you're doing this online, man. So I don't know if he's having some type of mental breakdown or if it's just a big issue like this that's forcing him to act in this way. But whatever the issue is, I hope you get it rectified, my boy. I hope everything all right with you. And we want to see you back on the field. So get your mind right so you can get your money right. You know what I'm saying? So you can get us right. All right. Good luck. Hey man, either pay the man or let him go get paid somewhere else. Bottom line. You feel me? Now, we're gonna end this show with one of the biggest updates of the week. When a quarterback of this stature comes back to the practice field, it changes the outlook of an entire conference. All right, so the last story we're going to talk about before we wrap is going to be Patrick Mahomes is back on the football field, right? He's back. He's back out there. He's playing. He's throwing passes. He's running. And it's great to see him back on the field. You can tell he's still working his way back physically, right? But the important part is that he's out there. You know, it's only the beginning of July, right? Which gives him plenty of time before week 1 to continue rehabbing and get back to full speed, man. Last season wasn't up to the standard that we've come to expect from Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's exactly why I think this team comes into this season with a chip on the shoulder. You know, when you got one of the greatest quarterbacks in the league coming off a disappointing year by his standards, history says they are usually motivated to respond. And a healthy Patrick Mahomes immediately changes the conversation in the AFC West. You can never overlook Kansas City when number 15 is on the field, man. So, fantasy-wise, I haven't been as high on Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs skill players over the last couple of years because of the production. You know, it haven't matched the draft cost, honestly. But this season, it could be different. If the running game with Kenneth Walker, K-Trey, if it takes a step forward and offense become more balanced, that opens up everything for Patrick Mahomes, right? A stronger ground game means more play action, more explosive plays, and more opportunities for the offense on that team, right? So I'm not saying go reach for the Kansas City Chiefs players, but I'm definitely moving them back up my board compared to where I had them a few months ago, right? When we thought Patrick Mahomes was going to be out for at least 6 to 8 weeks. So from a betting standpoint, this is why you have to stay current. A healthy Patrick Mahomes changes power rankings. It changes division projections and the win total conversation. If the market is still priced at Kansas City based on last year's disappointment, there could be a little value there. All right. And that's exactly what we're looking at. Not betting the logo, but betting when the number doesn't match the football. And you got to find these sweet spots. So one thing we've always said on this show is that football is constantly changing, man. Every week there's new information, right? And that's exactly what we're looking for, you know. You got to be tuned into it. Every week it's going to be something new. And your job isn't to stick to old information. It's to evaluate the new information and adjust accordingly, right? That's how you win fantasy. That's how you win your betting slips and find value. And that's how you stay ahead of everybody else. The best football minds are not the ones who never change their opinion or change their mind, right? They're the ones who know when to change it, right? You got to. So the baby goat is back. The AFC West just got a whole lot more interesting. And while I'm still leaning towards Cincinnati as my AFC pick, I fully expect Kansas City to be right back in the conversation and competing for another division title, all right? I really like the fact that we got Patrick Mahomes back on the field, he's out here running around, he's looking good, you know. And like I say, football ain't football without 15 out there, right? The lesson here is simple. You know what I mean? It's real simple. New information should lead to new evaluation. I can't stress that enough. The people who win fantasy league and cash betting tickets, they not the ones who get stuck on their opinions, who don't want to change their mind. They're the ones who know when to change their mind. Probably change their mind too much because you moving according to what you know, what the information that says. So don't fall in love with your opinion, man. You try to fall in love with getting the evaluation right. All right. So today's show, it wasn't about 5 different stories. You know, it was about one idea. Every headline deserves context. You know, you got to put it in the proper perspective. Every breakout deserves proof. So when they talking about, you know, this is the next guy, you know, go check it out for yourself. It ain't too much work to go and research. Go see what the coach say. Every rumor deserves patience because, you know, it could have just had a good day. Is it going to be able to keep that going on day in and day out? That's going to earn them a significant role. And if you can separate football value from fantasy value and separate fantasy value from betting value, you'll put yourself in a position to make better decisions all season long. And that's the mission over here at Football is Money. You know, stay informed so we can get something going, all right? And now I want to hear from y'all, man. Which one of these stories do you think is going to have the biggest impact this season? You know, drop the takes in the comment because we'll cover the best ones. You know, we're going to stay tuned in with all the stories, but you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to bring you guys the real-time information. And before we get out of here, man, I got a quick message from Football is Money, so stay tuned. And if you are enjoying today's show, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and head over to footballismoney.com. That's where you'll find our fantasy football leagues, our pick'em pool party, Football is Money Plus, and everything else we got going on this season. So head over to footballismoney.com after the episode ends, though. All right, man. So I appreciate every single one of y'all for rocking with me this evening. Training camp is almost here, which means that the real evaluations are just around the corner, right? We'll be here every step of the way trying to, you know, make sure you get to the promised land. All right, we're going to be breaking down stories that actually matter for fantasy football, for your betting slips, and, you know, just what matters for the football community. Until next time, man, keep studying, keep trusting your evaluation, and, you know, stay tuned in, man. I'm your host. They call me Boss. This is Football is Money, and we out.
That's a wrap. Thanks for listening to Football is Money. Find every episode and more at footballismoney.com.